cut. So going back to the students, what you could do to get the best out of your day. I know it also involves the parents and guardians, especially for the very young children who need their parent support when getting ready to go to school. So, how you get the best out of your education as a student at each stage will mainly be determined by the previous night, the previous day. What time you go to bed matters, because when you go to bed on time, you're able to wake up early, refreshed, and you'll be able to concentrate more in school. So if you're maybe a student in high school, you're able to take yourself to bed on time, or a young adult in college or university, make sure you go to bed on time. For the young children, please, parents and guardians, make sure they go to bed on time. And I've got a book here, again by Anna Kimani, Parents and Guardians, how you could support your children through education. To you students, learn to how to push those grades up, maximizing your child educational potential. Anna has written a quote from another author by the name Carrie B. So, and this is what Carrie B said about going to bed on time for the students. Going to bed on time and having enough rest enables the student to get ready for school the following day and even the whole week. They are able to concentrate better. Carrie continues to explain the importance of sleep. You don't have to be a new age dream therapist to believe that the brain makes connections during sleep that it doesn't while awake. The history of scientific discovery is sorted with the hint that sleep fosters profound intellectual leaps. Sleep deprivation makes us more reckless, more emotional fragile, less able to concentrate, and possibly more vulnerable to infections. That is Carrie B from pages 195 to 197. So it's Anna who has quoted this author, Carrie B, in her book, Parents and Guardians, How You Can Support Your Children Through Education. I would recommend you get this book by Anna Kimani. It's very informative and it has got a lot of information. So, going back now to what we are looking at today, so we have learned the importance of going back to bed on time as a student. Those who are a bit responsible, maybe in upper high school, college, university, go to bed on time. I know you might have a lot of time, a lot of revision to do, homework to catch up with, projects to catch up with, but for you to be able to make the best of your following day, go to bed on time. And for you parents, for the young children, please ensure they go to bed on time so that they're able to wake up when they are refreshed. And also, going to bed early help you to be more rejuvenated the following day, and you're able to get more or to do more. Again, next is wake up on time. So depending on your mode of transport to school and also how far your school is, make sure you wake up on time so that you can get ready to go to school and you do not get late. Also, when you wake up on time, it helps you to be able to eat properly, to drink well, getting ready to go to school. It helps you to refresh yourself, take a shower, so that you are fresh. And also remember to dress nicely. So you're able to dress yourself nicely because you're not in a hurry to go, because you have got enough time before you leave home to go to school. And also, when you're refreshed, especially when you have got enough time to take a shower or refresh yourself the best way you can do, and you dress well, It also builds your confidence when you're leaving home to go to school, when you're smartly dressed and looking good and smelling nice. When it comes to eating in the morning, I think it will also depend on the season or what time it is in the year, depending on where you're from. Maybe for those of you who are from very cold countries, maybe experiencing winter, or even whichever country you're coming from, during the cold seasons, personally, I would recommend taking oat porridge if it does not have side effects, if you don't have allergies for it. Oat porridge help keep warm, and also it's porridge, like a form of, it's a drink, yes, but it's like a form of food as well. And also to make yourself comfortable for the day and get the best out of it in school, dress appropriately. If it is cold, make sure you're warmly dressed, and if it is hot, you're rightly dressed. I get in trouble at times with some students. I've gotten in trouble with some boys in school, especially during winter, where they have to remove their outdoor clothing in class, and I tell them you have to take off your coat or your jacket, and they tell me I'm cold, miss, and I say no, the school policy is you don't have outdoor clothing in class. And then I tell them, make sure you put on a vest. And then they tell me, no, we are not young babies, we are not young children. But I tell them, put on a warm vest, because people don't have to see it, but you're warm and you're comfortable and able to concentrate in class because you're not cold. So it is important that the student dress appropriately before they go to school, or even as they're in school, because this helps them to be comfortable and to concentrate. Parents, I know this is something you do, it's just a reminder. And if you are parents out there and you need help, you know this, do not be afraid to ask for help. Making progress in education is teamwork. It's good to ask for help if you need help, especially when it comes to feeding your children or dressing them up, and depending on the country you're coming from, I'm sure there are some governments that are very keen on this, helping parents and guardians who are in need, parents and guardians who require some support when it comes to bringing up their children. And also the community will come in. If you need help, do not be afraid to seek for help. All right, so as students now, when you come to school, you have left home, you have come to school, if possible, arrive to school, depending on the time you're required to be in school, make sure you're in school at least 10 to 15 minutes before, because this helps you to relax. If you need to use the bathroom, you have got time to use the bathroom, and then you're able to walk to your lesson on time, so that by the time the bell rings, you're already in class, because the teacher will be there waiting for you, and you want to be there on time. Settle down, and then as you settle down, of course, your teacher will be ready to start off the lesson. Most of the teachers will have maybe something already set up for you to get started. Get started on time. What resources are your teachers prepared for you? For example, for me, when I'm teaching, when you come to my class, to my lesson, and especially in the morning, you'll find me at the door. I will welcome you. You'll sit down. There's always a starter, either on the board or printed out and photocopied on your desk, or it could be written on the board, and it depends on the activity I want you to do. Make sure you look at what your teacher has prepared for you to start when the lesson is starting. And maybe mainly these starters come in as the teacher is taking the register. So when I give you the starter and I'm doing the register, I'll come around and see what you're doing as well. But make sure you're making some progress in that. All right. So when the teacher is ready to start, meaning probably in 5 minutes, the teacher is ready to start the lesson, then pay full attention. Pay full attention. And there's something maybe I could have also mentioned when we were looking at preparing yourself to come to school. Make sure you have got the appropriate equipment. Your pencil case is ready. You have got, I recommend in your pencil case, you have got a ruler, you have got a rubber, a pencil, and a pen. Those are the main ones. And of course, depending on the subject, you need maybe a mathematical set. Your subject teacher will tell you the school has got the policies that they require the students to do. So when the teacher is now starting to teach, depending on whichever topic the teacher is covering in whichever subject, pay full attention. I always tell my students that when you come to my lesson, at the start of the lessons are mainly 50 minutes, 1 hour, 10 minutes, depending on schools, most of the schools that I have taught. Make sure you pay full attention. And I always remind my students, when you come through my class, to my lesson, come through the door and I have taught you. At the end of the lesson, if I stand at the door and ask you what have you done today, you should be able to tell me from your memory at least over 90% of what was going on in the lesson, because you paid attention. I always remind my students, when I'm teaching, I don't talk all the time. Maybe out of that lesson, I'll talk 15% of that time or even less. That's when I'll teach you, but I'll give you activities. So those few times that I'll interact because I'm teaching you, I'm explaining the activity, what you do to make progress in this. Make sure you pay full attention so that you can understand the activity or what the teacher is teaching. Because if you don't understand it, you will not be able to do the best out of it or to make progress in that area that I was teaching or any other teacher was teaching. So paying full attention to the teacher is very, very important. And if anything isn't clear when your teacher is teaching, just put up your hand and ask for clarity. And again, here it will depend on the age of the student, what level the student is in, because for the very young children, the teacher will be going around, the children, like let's say it's nursery or lower primary school, the teacher will be very keen looking at what the students are going. And even myself, when I'm in high school, when I'm teaching in high school, I also really make sure that I'm checking every student, the progress they are making, even as I'm teaching. I look at the activities, how they are progressing. But as a student, to get the best out of it, you need to pay full attention. Avoid disrupting the lesson. When you disrupt the lesson, you are missing out yourself. You are delaying the progress of the teacher teaching when the teacher is dealing with their behavior. And also, you are disrupting other students. That means you are disrupting the whole lesson and everyone else in the lesson, including yourself, other students, and the teacher. So it's also good to be very well disciplined, behave during the lesson for your sake, for the sake of other students, and even for the sake of the progress that the teacher will be able to make as he or she is teaching in the lesson. We continue here. All right, during break times or lunch time, when you go for breaks, make sure you use your break appropriately. Go to the bathroom, have a snack. If it's lunch time, take your lunch, or if you go to the dining for lunch, if your school provides lunch, or if you have your lunch in school, just go to the dining hall straight, or according to the arrangements that the school has made. And then, even as maybe if I could go back when we were talking about preparing yourself to go to school, maybe I could have mentioned as well about for the parent whose children has to pack meals to school, make sure that you pack the appropriate food, enough food. Make sure there is a snack for them to take during break time, and also they take drink, preferably water, so that they can remain hydrated during the whole day. And also for you students as well, in the classroom, if you have to bring water to school, make sure that it is well secured so that you're not spilling water on the tables and messing your books, and after drinking it, put it away. And also follow the school policy. Are you allowed to just take water like that, or you're supposed to ask for permission from the teacher? But all I know is, especially during very hot seasons, the teachers or the school will encourage the student to drink a lot to remain hydrated, you know. So make sure that you're responsible enough when you're taking your drink, especially during the lesson. Okay, let's move on and look at coming back to the class during the lesson. I was really emphasizing on remaining focused. Unless you have got permission, maybe you really need to go to the bathroom, you will ask your teacher, the teacher will advise you, or if you have got a toilet pass to go to the bathroom, or maybe timeout passes to go out and relax, try and remain in the lesson so that you don't miss out on what is going out. So the whole purpose of looking at this is, as a student, what will you get out of your school day? The best out of it, whether it is during the lessons or other school activities. Make sure you remain focused in every single lesson. All right, also in the lesson, depending on how your teacher has planned the lesson, because teachers are qualified and they know how to plan, make sure you participate. If it is your individual work you are supposed to do, give it the best try. Do your best to make progress in that. Ask for help from your teacher if you're struggling somewhere. If it's teamwork, like group work or pair work, make sure you participate. Make sure you participate. If it is from the other student in class, if it is group work, participate so that you learn from each other. You're helping each other. The teacher will be coming around asking you maybe questions. You ask the teacher the questions, checking your progress. But if it is pair work or group work, make sure you make the best out of it. You concentrate. Do as the teacher has instructed you to do. Don't start messing up with other students in class or just sitting there talking other things. And the teacher will be there to make sure you're on task. But take that responsibility as a student, and especially if you are maybe in even lower high school or even upper high school or college, university. Make sure the teachers will be there to guide you, but take responsibility. Do your best and take responsibility. In other words, do your best and be your own prefect so that you can get the best out of it. Make sure you're not always forced. This is the right thing to do, because you know, do that right thing that you're supposed to do. And also, this is something that I have observed, like if it's for the A-level students or college students, maybe you have got free time as you wait for the next lesson, and most schools or colleges have got A-level common room. And yes, I'm not against you chatting up with your friends or catching up with your friends, but don't just sit there for a whole hour talking. Just go somewhere and try to catch up with your work, your project. Unless maybe you are with your friends and you're catching up with the project, you're discussing project together, or you're discussing a question together, you can chat that time, you can discuss that time, but avoid this issue of just hanging around and wasting a lot of time. Make use of your school day to the maximum. Whether you're revising on your own, whether you're catching up with your friends, your buddies in class, trying to help each other, make sure you're using that time appropriately. Okay, so you have spent your day in school, and then it's time to come home. When you come home, it's important if you could catch up with your parents and guardians and tell them what you did in school. Update your parents and update your guardians on what you did in school. And also for you parents, despite the age of the child, remember to ask. Remember to ask them. The reason why I'm saying this is when a student, when they come home and the student is able to tell their parents, this is what we covered in school in this subject or in this other subject, or when you as a parent or guardian, you're able to ask your child or the student under your care, it helps in building up their memory. I'm not saying you stress them up. They have already been in school, they have had a long day, they have come home, but in a relaxed environment, you can ask, you can inquire. Maybe when they're sitting around the table there and you're catching up with their housework or the work in the house, maybe you're cleaning up, you're cooking, you can ask, so and so, what did you do in school? It helps build up their memory, because they're able to remember what they covered in school. And if they're able to do it every day, but in a very relaxed manner, in a very relaxed way, don't stress them. As I said, they have spent the whole day in school. Then that helps them in remembering, building their memory. And also, because they know you'll be asking, then they'll be able to pay more attention when they're in school. They'll concentrate in school. It's a way of encouraging students. And as you talk with your child or the student under your care as a parent after school, if you notice something isn't right, it's good to catch up with the school. Let the school know. If it's a subject teacher, catch up with the subject teacher. Maybe you can make a phone call, or you can organize for a meeting and discuss it. Because here we are looking at the best progress of the child, the student under your care in education. And we want them to get the best. So if you notice something isn't right, or if a student come and tell you after the whole day that this went on in school, and you realize maybe it's affecting them all, it's something that make you concerned, just get in touch in school and have it looked at. And we said that education is teamwork. I'll remind you that, and I know you know that education is teamwork. And we are trying to look at how the student could get the best out of the day when they're in school. And there are many other factors that can affect them. And I want to recommend, I've watched and I've seen so many organizations, not only in the United Kingdom, but across the whole world, where people are doing the best to make students comfortable. Here, I've seen like individuals, companies campaigning for maybe students who may not have all these resources, campaigning so that the government can come in, or the local government can come in and supply these resources, whether it is food or drink, to make sure that the children are eating enough, so that they're able to concentrate when they're in school or even when they're at home. And also I've seen so many organizations, especially looking at the welfare of the girl child, when the girl, they're providing sanitary towels so that no girl child needs to go to school because they are going through their menstruation, or they can't afford sanitary towels to keep them comfortable when they go to school. Well done to those organizations. And it is the responsibility of every government or even the community to make sure that the young people are getting the best out of education because they are supporting them. And I was looking at the Millennium Goal. See, the Millennium Goals, they were set in New York by the United Nations, and they came up with 17 global goals that were supposed to have been accomplished by 2030, and the agenda was on sustainable development. And out of those 17, there were 8 of them that the target was by 15 years. So from 2000, the target was supposed to have been achieved by 2015. And one of those goals, out of the 8 Millennium Goals, was to make sure that illiteracy is eradicated across the whole world. And they were talking about to achieve universal primary education and even high school education for all students across the whole world. And I'm going to read just a quote from it. These goals ensure that all girls and boys complete free primary and secondary schooling by 2030. So that was one of the goals. So you see how important education is globally. And it is for us, communities, governments, to ensure that we are doing all we can to make sure there is good progress in education for every child at whichever age, and even those who are young adults and are still going through education. And I'll go back here and read from Anna Kimani what she has said about team working together to accomplish this goal, or helping students going through education to achieve the best from it. And Anna has written, outstanding education and schooling take a team working together to accomplish. And thank you for your time.